Where are my Gen Xers at? Oh, let's do this. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Rebecca. Today I'm gonna do something that I haven't done. I mean, it's a get ready with me. I'm putting on makeup. This is nothing earth-shattering, but I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about experiences in the, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, that would not be acceptable today. I'm sure some of you are fans of the podcast, My Favorite Murder, and when they have their hometowns and they have letters and people writing in about, you know, like, hey, 80s kid here, we were free roaming, feral, you know, just raised ourselves on cartoons and saltines after school and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah. So I thought it would be fun if, while I put on makeup, if I tell a story from my childhood and we can sort of collectively react to, that's not appropriate in terms of what society let us deal with. So if you are new here and you were like, what is this and what are we gonna do? Okay, so my name's Rebecca. I'm 52, I'll be 53 very soon. So I was born in 1972, right? Okay, I lived, I'm here in the Northwest, so I'm gonna be a little bit vague in some aspects, you know, like I just like to protect kind of names and identities, and I don't know. It's just, there's not a lot. You guys, this is not earth-shattering. This should not be triggering. This is nothing sort of traumatic in a grand scheme of things. You know, I'm not going to talk about some violent occurrence or some horrific event that I can think of, unless it comes out as a repressed memory, because that's been happening too. I recently started therapy. I've been sharing about that because I'm really happy. I love talking to a therapist every week. It's helped me so much. So anyway, there's some things that come up and I go, oh my gosh. And then there's some things that, like, you know how therapy works. And all of a sudden I start crying and she's like, where are you feeling this? I'm like, in my eyeballs, it's tears. What are you asking me? She's like, no, is it in your stomach? Is it in your chest? And I'm like, oh, okay. So anyway, I'm going to put on makeup and let's start with, I have sunscreen on. I'm wearing the new Jones Road sunscreen. They sent it to me. You guys, why do I not have it in front of me? Where did I put it? Already I've lost something, but it is very, very good. It's just, it doesn't have a cast or anything like that. I like it. It's very thick. And it leaves like a dewy. So if you don't like that, all right. So anyway, I am gonna put on ColourPop. I'm gonna do a combination of high-end and drugstore because I can if I want to. How about that? So I'm gonna start with my Peach and Lily eye cream because it is, all right. So let us take a gander to the year of our Lord, 1987. I'm working. I am 15 years old. Legal working age is 16 unless you have like a permit. I did not get a permit. I was employed at the local 1-hour photo shop in the mall, the local mall. It's gonna be really hard to put makeup on and talk. I get way too distracted. What that meant was I knew this owner. He was a member of our church and I had babysat his child during the summer. There was a summer where he and his wife were working, or it was like one day a week. They didn't have daycare. And so I was babysitting for them, and you know, and that was fun. Like, they would just drop her off at our house and we would babysit her, and we had a lot of fun. My mom and I would babysit like this 2-year-old. And I remember being probably like middle school or elementary school, and I thought it was kind of fun. Anyway, so he knew who I was, and then he was like, oh, would you like to come work in my shop after school? And also, I had a boyfriend at the time. That's a whole other story. He was a senior in high school at our rival high school. Ooh, there's a stink bug on the outside of my window. And ADHD, right? Squirrel. And he got a job. He needed a job, and he got a job there. And they were like, do you know of anyone else who can work part-time and help with, you know, the taking the customer, the film from the customers, et cetera, and helping. So it was like, yeah. Now, what I feel really bad about is I also wrangled my best friend at the time. I feel bad. She worked the days I couldn't work, and vice versa, because she had church meetings nights of the week, weeknights, and I just didn't want to work 6 nights a week, 7 nights a week. So we split, we did this part-time thing. I don't even know what we were paid. Minimum wage at the time in Washington State, I'll have to do a Google of that and put that on the screen, because it wasn't a lot. I think I remember it was like I was excited that I'm making more money than if I was babysitting. But I also remember that this man, I will not name him, did not follow any kind of labor laws. So he didn't care that we were not technically old enough to work. He didn't care that if we got lunch or like a dinner break. I think I had to have one of my parents drop me off. I didn't drive at the time. And we just were, so I worked from about 3:30 till when the mall closed, which is like 9:30. Now, it's a 1 hour. You remember that. So whoever is not, if you were born after 2000, you're going to be like, what is a 1 hour photo? Well, when we had film in our cameras, digital cameras did not exist. We had film in our cameras, and it used to be you took them to, like, golly, I don't remember, Walgreens, and then they send it away, and then you would get your pictures in like a month, and then or like a week. And then these 1 hour places, they had them in parking lots, and then they also just started creating them as these photo developing locations, and it was quite the business franchise model of the 80s and 90s. And you would have these places that would develop the film on site, and you were promised your pictures within an hour with reason, kind of like if you're dropping off one roll of film, you can totally have it in an hour versus, here's 6 rolls of film for my daughter's wedding. Can you get these to us? It's like, no. I was in charge of I remember being behind the counter, and the man that employed us did not speak English as his first language. And he spoke very broken English, and it was very hard to understand him sometimes. And he was also, I want to say he was a very small in stature man. He was about 5 foot. He was shorter than me. I think he was like 5'3". And I use this as context for something soon. So he told me what to do, and he says to take the customer's name, to write down their phone number and address on the envelope, to give them the claim ticket, and then to put it in the envelope, and then you take it to the box that is like has a like the kind you reach in, but it's a black box thing, like a dark room, and you take it out of the thing and you put it in this container, and you have to do it by feel, and it's really weird. And then you put that in the machine. And it's this giant machine that is a developer, and it has all the chemicals in it that develop, and it has like a conveyor belt that the photos come out of. And I remember that if you did the initial process of taking the film and putting it in this thing, in this like blind box thing that you're just using your hands to do, and you're just doing it by feel, if you did anything wrong with that, you ruined that roll of film. And I don't think a 15-year-old is equipped to deal with that kind of pressure. I ruined rolls of film. I did. I can't give you actual examples, but I just know that there were times that I was like, uh-oh. And sometimes I pretended it didn't happen. And then the film, the pictures, it'd be like 1 or 2 pictures with just like, you know, something to ruin the shot. And the customer would be like, oh God, what happened? And then the owner would say to them, oh, I think it was your camera. Your camera malfunctioned. I mean, it kind of was nice that he covered for us, but I guess he's sort of covering his own ass. And he's like, oh, your camera, did it pop open at all? Did it? And they're like, no, I would have known. And he's like, must have happened. You must have popped open the back of the camera and a film frame was exposed. How else would this be? And people are like, okay, that's too bad. And I'm just like, oh my God. The developer, there is somebody, a technician, that sits at the machine and watches each, when the strip of negative comes out of the developer, that was the thing, the blind thing I had to do. And then the negative comes out, they go through and there's like a computer and you look at it and they can white balance it, they can try to correct it a little bit, but they're just basically going through, and then it goes, and then they look at each single frame, and before it goes through the printing onto the photo paper. Does anybody know what I'm going to talk about soon? So people thought, I mean, this is the day, this is in the age of, there were no cell phones. You're not, so if you think like sexting or dick pics are a thing of the modern contemporary times, you'd be mistaken. So people would take boudoir photos and be totally fine with bringing them to be developed. Because I guess what else are you gonna do? So there I am, and when they are done, they get printed and then they get collated down a little conveyor belt. Now we had the conveyor belt facing out to the mall. There was like a window, a glass partition to the mall from our storefront. And it was like this, the way you watch Krispy Kreme go around the conveyor belt and get glazed, and then, you know, that's what this is like. So the conveyor belt, and you can just see people's photos as they get collated. It's killing me. It's really killing me. I need more concealer. There I am. And the guy working, so I think his name was Matt. And he was like in his 20s. He was this dude, just that was his job. He worked there all the time, and he would be like, oh, we got some photos coming. And I was like, oh no. So there they would just be. Like, there I am, a 15-year-old girl collating nude photos, dick pics, and boob shots of these random people. And then it was so gross, you know, and I was so embarrassed and mortified that I am working with two grown men and they're like giggling, not giggling, they're like laughing and like, look at this one. And I'm just like, I don't think I'm supposed to see this. The owner would tell us to do is to take a piece of paper, just a regular piece of like white paper or an index card, and put it in the slot facing the mall window. So when it came down the conveyor belt, people couldn't see it out there, but we still had to see it. We had to deal with it. Y'all, to say that that is inappropriate for this day and age is like, duh, right? One, I was too young to work to begin with. I was too young to work the hours I worked without a break. I should not have seen what I saw. So not only was just the sort of nature of the job at times inappropriate and gross and having to deal with customers that were disrespectful and yucky is the best I can come up with. But also this employer yelled at me if I didn't move fast enough, called me. He would always say something like, a monkey could do better. If I was trying to get the pictures, you know, in the envelope and out to the customer, he would be like, hurry up. And remember when I said his height where he was? He would do this thing and I never knew if it was intentional or just where he was positioned next to me in height. Because I was 5'7", 5'6" in high school. I'm 5'6" now, but I was like 5'6", 6.5" even then. And every time he would he kind of did this backhand thing, like hurry up, you know? It was right on my boob. It was like he would do this, like hurry, hurry, hurry. And he wasn't looking at me, but I'm like, why does he keeps backhanding my boob? And I'm just like, again, just stunned and just going, this is not okay. Like, I know that this is not okay. And I just remember having to bite back tears and just be like, and you know, in those days, I didn't fuck politeness. I was too polite. I didn't know what to do. I shall round this story out. Oh, by the way, this new hard candy, they have like 6 new setting sprays, both like setting sprays, and they even have a makeup remover spray and a hypochloric acid spray. Really, really good. This one is the Grip on Lock setting spray, but it's dewy, it's hydrating. I really like it. So I put it over powder. So I hit a breaking point. I just was so unhappy and just miserable, and going to work, I just had this horrible pit in my stomach when I knew I had to work. Like, it just felt so sick and wrong being in that environment, because the only other girl that worked there was my friend, but she couldn't work when I worked. We never worked together because we shared the shifts. And I don't know how she and I would complain about stuff and laugh about, you know, like the nude pictures, and share stories and be like, does he tap you on the boob too? And like, yeah, what the heck is that? And I think she quit. I can't remember the timeline of her quitting, but what I did was I was so just unhappy, but I was also I just didn't know how to put my foot down. I just didn't know. And this man was so just like kind of nice and then kind of mean all at the same time. Like he would be nice and, you know, kind of like the way he was around like when I would babysit for his daughter. But then there were times when he was just sort of this mean, cruel boss. And I told my dad, this is one of my best memories of my father. And it was one of the days he was dropping me off for work, but instead he parked the car and went in with me. And the owner respected my father. The owner knew who my dad was. He was very respectful to my dad. He knew him outside, you know, from the babysitting we'd done for him, and also at the church that we went to. And yeah, so my dad comes in and I can see this man, he has completely changed his affect, like in terms of his respect and his posture and the way he's treating my dad versus me. And my dad comes up to him and says, I am here to tell you that Rebecca will no longer be working for you after this week. She will finish her schedule, but she will no longer work. She needs to do her school. And he just said, yes, sir, I'm sorry to hear that, but okay. And my dad looked at me and he gave me the nod, like, I got ya, you know? And he's like, I'll pick you up 9:30. And I'm like, thanks, Daddy. And I just was like, I can do this. And then the man, the owner, he was so nice to me. He's like, why can't you work? You know, what is school so hard? And I said, I think what I said was, I'm studying for my college exams. Like, I think I said something like, oh, I have to study. I'm going to be doing a new, you know, I made something up to sound way more academic, to kind of just feed into this idea that he, you know, that even though a monkey could do this job, and sometimes he would say his daughter, he'd be like, my daughter can do this and she's 5, you know, and I'm just like, all right, well, why don't you get her to do this? And then you don't have to pay her. Yeah. So, and then I did not work there. And I don't think I ever went back to that place for photos because there were competitors around and because I mean, it was always like, oh, it's prom season and oh, it's wedding season. And yeah. So that is my story of Gen X. That's inappropriate. That would never fly today. Like, what the heck? What were they thinking? So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna, let me finish my mascara because I'm doing a heck of a job. And by a heck of a job, I mean, I'm making a horrible mess. So I'm gonna fix the mascara smudges, and then I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna do my hair, and I'll sign off. Just a sec. Okay. Well, I know, I came back and look at my hair. It's a little different, isn't it? But it's from, I filmed, in the meantime, my Tymo post for them that is the Rovi Wave Iron, and this is the bigger version. So it has a softer, since the plate is a little more shallow and bigger, the curl isn't as tight, or the wave isn't as tight. So anyway, I think it's kind of fun. I think it's a little bit 80s. Making sure that's You know, I feel a little Glenn Close, Fatal Attraction. Don't ignore me, Dan. By the way, I saw that movie way too young. Way too young, right? And, oh, you guys, this is gonna be fun. Our next installment, let me know if you want me to tell you all the inappropriate rated R movies that my parents took me to, because I don't know if they understood what rated R meant or they thought it was okay. Oh gosh, you guys. And I mean this like I was 8 years old. 8 years old. I am going to put this Versed lip serum on. It's Shade Flamingo. It's very nice. I got it at Ulta. There are so many lip tints. So let me know. You guys loved my eyeshadow crayon review video. Let me know what you want to see me swatch and review a type, an item of next. Yeah. And I will list the makeup below if I can remember. Let me know if you have any questions about the makeup. I would love to hear your take on all of this. Just leave me a Gen X comment. Just leave a key emoji in the like, did you wear your house key on either a ribbon around your neck, or did you have like a cute little carabiner? I had like this hook thing, this like plastic little hook, and I had my key on it, and I had it on my jeans belt loop in 5th grade. And that was my house key, so I could let myself into my house if nobody was going to be home. Alrighty. Hey, if you liked this, let me know. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you want to see more content with a friend like me, over 50, high-end, drugstore, pro-aging, perimenopause, ridiculous humor, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Alrighty, take care. Hydrate. Alrighty, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.